6, roger, 113, standby.
Moment to Stone Age, son!
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another late night in the garage. So, tonight, it's still hot, but we are going to persevere through it. We are going to be rebuilding and replacing the clutch cable on my RD350. So, the other night when I was riding this thing back home, the clutch cable broke on me. So, I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to take the time to show you guys how to construct a clutch cable, since you can't really find a clutch cable for this readily available. You can find some aftermarket stuff sometimes, but everything I could find for right now that's in stock is for the cruiser bars. These are not the cruiser bars. So, we'll be constructing a new clutch cable for this, and I'll take you guys step by step on how to do that. So first things first, we got to take this clutch side cover off to get to the clutch cable itself. Clutch cable is going to be on an actuator under this cover here. Once we take it off, we'll be able to fish out the rest of the clutch cable and start making our new clutch cable from that. Alright, you guys, so all you do is you remove it from this little clutch cable holder back here, pop her out. On the RD350, you have a clutch cable stopper. You don't want to lose it. You can get replacements, but keep the original. Alright, let's get it back in focus. Alright, you guys, so now that I got the gas tank off, all we can do is pull this clutch cable the rest of the way out, cut that zip tie. Go. So now we have the cable free. So now I'll show you guys how to start prepping this so that we can make the new cable off of it. Alright, you guys, just at the light, so hopefully I don't look like a fucking spooky ghost. But, we got the cable out, and as we can see where the fault was literally right there at the front, right at the handle. So, we're just going to make sure we're going to replace that, make sure it's good and soldered on. This side, still all good, not an issue to complain about there. So, what we're going to do is we're going to measure out the sheathing. The sheathing is going to be exactly the same length as it already is. I have no problems with the length that it's at currently, so we're going to do that. After we cut the sheathing, the cable length is going to be a little bit longer, so because we can have the adjustment to pull out whatever we need. Yeah, let's get to it. Alright, you guys, so we just cut the cable sheathing. We cut it to size, like I said, the same size as before. I put the tape around it on the end so we don't fray up these end sides. Cut it off with a Dremel cut-off wheel. You can cut it off a couple other ways. I found the best way to be using one of those Dremel cut-offs. After this, now we are going to be measuring out the old cable length and making the new cable length itself, not just the outer sheathing. The outer sheathing, before we're done with it, we're going to have to put on the 2 cable ferrule ends with little crimps. I don't have the correct crimp that makes what it is stock, but we can, work with what we got here. We also got to make sure to pull off this cable stop from the old cable. Now, most cable kits that you're going to get aren't going to come with the specialized hardware. The hardware that's really just for your bike. That is one of the benefits of buying a new cable, so you get all the new hardware. But, like in my case, when a new cable isn't around, you got to do with what you got. So, we're going to be reusing a lot of the hardware that came off of the old cable. Alright, you guys, so for the cable itself, I like to use these high torque cable cutters. You can use a Dremel again, but you have a higher likelihood of everything fraying apart. Same reason why I'm using the tape. The tape here, the end piece of this tape, keeps this cable from fraying apart after it's been cut. This is a brand new fresh kit, so the other side is all good to go. This side's the only one that I'm worried about, so not worried about it at this point. What we can do now is start feeding this new cable through the new sheathing and making sure that we put on the correct hardware and getting all of our ferrules and everything ready to start soldering it all together. Alright, you guys, so there's 2 different types of cable ferrule ends for clutch cables. You have your normal crimp-on ones, or you have these that have a slight taper to them. These ones with a slight taper to them are if you lose this little cable stop nut, put these on instead. It'll keep it from sliding all the way through the case. We still have this. And I personally, I think it fits a lot better with one of the actual correct cable stops in there. So we're going to be putting 2 of these style cable dressing ends on either side. And they slide on like so. These do have to be crimped on though. So let me show you the crimper that I use to make these stay on. To crimp these cable ends on these little ferrules, I like to use one of these weather pack style crimpers. There is a specific correct crimper. I just don't own it. I don't even know what the name of the tool would be to look it up. But anything will really work as a crimper. You just want to make sure that, because since these sheathings are really fragile, you don't want to over squeeze them at all. So since this isn't the right size, this works a lot better. This one specifically works a lot better for throttle cables. Just going real gently all around it, releasing when there's a lot of tension, and basically in the end it will look kinda like that, with little punches in it, like the end of a, oh my gosh, this light's getting crazy here. I think that's the best that we're gonna get. But yes, as you can see, the little crimps all running all the way around this. So as you can see, the little crimps running up and down all around this, kinda like the end of a pencil holding on the eraser cap. So once you have it like that around on both sides, Your cable will be locked in. The outer sheathing will be done. And now all you have to do is worry about the ferrules. So for clutch cables, they have these really cool, sweet solder-on nipple style ferrules. So these solder-on nipple style ferrules will go on each side like that, like so. Oh, hold on here. Let's get that piece on correctly. So this ferrule will go on the outside like that. Same thing on the other side. So you want the open dish end facing out. As that open dish end is facing out, it'll let all the solder fill in, fill it all up, be good to go. Let me grab the other camera here and I'll show you guys a better little close-up of what's going on here. Alright you guys, so this is it. So this is the little nipple ferrule for holding on this cable. Goes to this cable stop here. This will end up looking very close to this. This is from the original. So this will be dipped in solder. That is the cable fairing, or the cool cable end, cable stopper end. This is it over here. You can see the crimping a little bit better on there. Here we're gonna put the little, barrel nut type of thing on the end of there with another ferrule for soldering on the end. So next step is to solder it all up. So we're going to try something new. I've never actually used this. This is called a solder pot. It takes these lead-free beads, go in there, they melt. We add some flux to the ends of these here and here, and then we just have to dip that into the bottom. Hopefully, that's how it should work in my idea here of it working. So stay along and check it out. The solder seems to be nice and melty. Let's give this a go. So I'm first going to start with this side right here that actually goes into the clutch end. I'm going to hit it with the ever so gracious amount of flux. If I can ever, oh, let me even get this out of here. So let's clean that all off. Well, none of that is working. We're just going to unscrew this since we can't get it into a nice little area. Just going to dip the cable end into it real quick. Get that ferrule on there. And then I think first, I'm going to grab a little spatula bit and put it right on there. If that works. It didn't really work. Let's, oh no, no. Well, that one's a no-go. Oh no! Well, this is a mess. Okay, well the first one, no go. Let's try it again here. There's still flux on that cable. Man, this is a lot harder than it looks. I don't know if it's necessarily harder than the normal soldering iron, but it's definitely more awkward. So we're gonna call that good for the first try. Let's try doing the other side now. Alright, you guys, so definitely did not come out the prettiest. I've had lots of prettier ones. I'll show you guys a close-up on the camera again. Would I suggest to use a solder pot? Probably not. Thought I would give it a go, though. I'll also tell you guys how long this cable lasts. I'm not going to do any more modifications to it. I'm just going to slap her back onto the bike. And I'll give you guys a riding footage and tell you guys how it feels, but I don't know. I think it's good enough to try at least. Just breathe that one more time. Yeah, definitely needed that flux. Without that flux, I don't think any of this would have worked. Just so you guys know, the flux is basically like a bonding agent that helps the solder actually bond to the ferrule and the cable itself. I'm going to let this stuff cool down, and I'm probably going to throw all this stuff on later on this evening. Alright, you guys, this is the finished product. So this is the solder end here with the barrel nut. Goes all the way down to this end here. This guy here. Now, the solder didn't really get all the way in there, which I'm kind of worried about. The flux definitely is holding it, though. But, yeah, I'm a little worried about that. Usually, when I do these, I can get solder all the way into these ends of these ferrules when I use a normal soldering iron. But we're going to see about it now. Let's slap her on the old bike and see how she does. Alright, you guys, so now that the cable's all done, all we got to do is put it back onto the bike, reroute it through, put the clutch cover back on, and it should be good to go. So, watch me do that. Alright, you guys, so clutch is on, clutch cable is on, clutch cover is on. Everything seems to be functioning the way it should. It's a little too late tonight to take it out for a ride, but I'm going to finish putting this tank on, buttoning all this stuff up, and tomorrow morning I'll take you guys out for a ride, show you guys how it's working. I did cut the cable just a little too long, so it's a little looser of a clutch, or sloppier of a clutch than I'm used to, but I'm sure we can just get that all worked out as time goes on. I don't even know if this cable's going to last all that long, so we'll see about that, but thanks you guys for watching. Again, should always drain your gas tank before you try to put it back on. Oh, such a mess. Such a mess.